evening to you, Guyana. Yes, it is Friday, the 15th day in the ninth month of the year 2023. And I guess we all can say, thank God it's Friday, because it is that day that allow us to welcome the weekend in, so that we can spend time with family, friends, loved ones, and rest, and also go to our places of worship. So I want to welcome you to another episode of Let's Talk with Annette for tonight, Friday, September 15th, 2023. I hope that your week was awesome. You had a productive one, a successful one, and that you were able to accomplish the goals and objectives that you would have set to accomplish for this week. That being said, I trust also that your day was well spent. Allow me this opportunity to extend birth anniversary greetings to those of you who had a birthday up in the week, midweek, and also today and come weekend. Allow me to extend best wishes to you as you enter that new season, that new milestone. And I trust that whatever you set in this new season, that Almighty God will continue to bless and keep you, give you good health and strength. Also, for those who are celebrating a wedding anniversary, allow me also to say happy wedding anniversary to you and your best half. Don't worry with this thing, but better half. I think it is best half, right? So and also I just want to say that may God continue to bless your union, and may you live together in love and all that you have set out to spend the rest of your life with each other, for better or for worse. That's the vow, we take before man and God, right? All right, on the sad side of things, allow me also to extend deepest condolences to those of you who have lost a loved one. I pray that Almighty God continue to bless you, and may you find strength and solace within Him, right? So may your loved one rest in perfect peace. I also want to say a pleasant good night. How can I forget my viewers and my faithful followers via the social media platform? A blessed night to those of you who have joined this live this evening, right? I also want to, on the announcements, to remind all of us that we have an obligation to ensure that our young ones who will attain the age of 14 by December 31st, 2023, to get registered in this new cycle. We have the continuous registration being conducted by GCOM. And as I have been saying on previous programs, and I will continue to harp on future programs until we exhaust this cycle of continuous registration, it is important for you to get registered as a citizen of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Many of you might say, man, me not got time with having an identification card, because you see it as a form of having to cast your ballot on any elections day. But I want to say, no, the purpose of the national identification card is not solely for voting purposes, but it also allows you to conduct your personal business, whether at a banking institution, any government agency or organization. If you want to take out what is it, seek a job, or even if you have to travel internally, that is also a purpose for having an identification card. So please, the onus is on all of us to ensure that our young ones get registered, and also those who are residing in our constituencies, in communities, and also whether part of our family that never had an identification card, and they're 18 years and over, they too can get registered. And the process is a simple one. It is a simple one. All that is required is your source document. And what is a source document? Your source document or documents can either be your birth certificate or a valid passport. A valid passport. Yes, one may have a passport, but that passport might have expired 10 years ago. That cannot be used. The passport must be of recent, or must have whether a current date or a future period, right? So please ensure you use these source documents to get registered. For those of you who might have misplaced your identification card, you were a holder of one, but you have misplaced it, this process also allows you the opportunity to have your identification card replaced, right? To have your identification card replaced. That is one. For those of you who might be living in, let us say you registered in Georgetown, somewhere in Georgetown, and you're now residing in another area, region, let us say somewhere in Georgetown you also reside in, but you see the need to have your transfer done. This process also allows you to do just that, right? For marriage women who would want to have a name change, also this process allows you to do that. All that is required, you just walk with your current identification card along with your marriage certificate, and you can have that new name added on your identification card, right? And for those of you who also have a depot, and you can use the depot along with your birth certificate to get registered. So please, I'm just sharing this bit of information with you so that you can educate and inform other persons how they can go about getting registered or getting their birth certificate, their identification cards replaced. The other thing too is that the other thing too on this registration cycle is that we have to be so watchful and vigilant, because one person can have 10 names. So what you find sometimes is that one person with 10 different identification cards. So we have to watch for those dishonest and dishonorable persons, because come elections time, that one person, you can have multiple ballots cast for that one person with many names, right? And I can tell you, persons who have already been registered since the cycle of continuous registration commenced, you won't believe persons have already been issued with their identification card. I have a nephew who will be 14, who is now 14 years old, turned 14 in July of this year. And believe you me, from the time the continuous cycle reopened, on the first day, I took him, got him registered. And just early this week, I think it might have been Tuesday, we collected his little ID card. You know, he was so anxious, you know, to head to the GCOM location there to get his identification card. So the process, as I said, it's a very simple one, right? So let us try to encourage our people to get registered. And to you parents and guardians, it is your responsibility to ensure this is done. I can't do it for you. Jane can't do it for you. But we all have a responsibility to do just that, because, you know, as citizens, this is one of our rights to get registered, right? There are many offices in all of the 10 administrative regions. For those residing in Georgetown, you have about 4 locations. On Mandela Avenue here, just opposite the Texaco, the KFC outlets, the Transfiguration Church to the western half of Mandela Avenue. In the compound of the Transfiguration Church, you have an office there. Also on Sheriff Street, between William and Sheriff Street, there is another office. On Church Street, obliquely opposite Austin's Book Services. We're all familiar with that book service name. So there is also an office there. And there's also an office on Crowell Street upstairs at the Metro building. So there shouldn't be any excuses why one should not get registered. So I'm encouraging you, if you have difficulties in getting this process done, I am here to assist you in that process. I also have my colleagues in their respective regions and constituencies who can assist. In Georgetown, the People's National Congress Reform, we have several offices. I have one in East Front Road that is servicing the entire East and West Rumveld. You have one in Albert Street that services the Queenstown, the Albertown area. There's also an office in Boyder Street at Comrade Henry's residence. That area service Lazytown, Boyder also. We also have the office, the district office on Durban Street that service Wortmanville Lodge housing scheme, Working Rust, those Stabrook, those areas there, right? And there's also the Kitty office at Public Road, Kitty, and Vicingen Road. So that area too service the Kitty and, you know, its environs there, right? And then we have the main office, that's the Congress Place there in Sophia, service the entire Sophia, Camberville area, Bel Air. So please, for those of you who are encountering difficulties, help us to help you, because this is what we are here for as leaders, right? So it's, as I said before, we got to ensure that everyone get registered. The opportunity is now, and we can ill afford to lose this opportunity, right? So we have until November 30th, because that's when the cycle of continuous registration will close. November 30th. So despite one will attain the age of 14 by December 31st, 2023, the closing of the actual registration process or cycle is on November 30th, 2023. I know my viewers and listeners might be saying, man, every week Comrade Ferguson or MP Ferguson, you know, just keep, you know, insisting continuous registration. Yes, I have to insist. Yes, I have to be persistent because I want people to get registered. So come 2025, we can put the People's Progressive Party out of office. And the only way this can be possible is that once you're registered and you've attained the age of 18 years and over, you can go and cast that ballot. And the only party you can cast the ballot for, whether it's the APNU or the AFC or the APNU and AFC or the coalition, that's where you got to place your X. Nowhere else. Don't worry with the red. Right? It's all green and yellow. So for this evening, my topic will be, or before I move into this evening, allow me, my viewers, usually Wednesdays is this program, but regrettably, I wasn't here on Wednesday because of other activities, right? So I'm here nevertheless this evening to continue our discussion on what is happening in our country. But for this evening, our topic will be PPPC regime. PPPC regime. Bad for Guyana. And this evening, I will be opening up the phone lines. And I want you people to call in. I want you to call in and share your concerns on what is happening in this country. But the reason for this topic, I believe it is quite necessary, and I will give reasons why this topic was actually chosen. So I'm doing it all alone this evening, but I know just before the end of the program, I will have you, my wonderful viewers there in TV land, to call in and share with us. So the operator will soon put the number up there that you will be able to access me here in studio. Look, last week, this is the second week since school reopened. And I think last Friday when I was here, I spoke to the issue of my visits to all the schools within the constituency that I have responsibility for. Right? That's one. Secondly, I also highlighted that many schools, because coming out from that assessment and based on my observation, many schools were not fully ready for a September 4th, 2023 reopening. Just yesterday, I was in the Tocqueville area, visited a few relatives and a few friends in the area, and I was trying to get a sense as to what is happening. And I had the opportunity of passing the Tocqueville. You have the Tocqueville Primary School and the Tocqueville Secondary School in the same compound, but separate buildings. And what I observed is that you had contractors conducting work on the building. And for me, it seems as though that this was a late start in the construction works on the Tocqueville Secondary School. So if, as I said last week, schools closing for the July-August vacation, the government or the Ministry of Education should have some proper plan in place as to how they're going to have these works executed. So yesterday, I observed men working, and what I gleaned from many of several residents who I had interaction with is that the children are now placed at a disadvantage. Because what was said to me is that apparently there's some arrangements where you have grades are the varying levels, attend school, probably you might have a grade 7 going to school 1 day a week. You may have a grade 9 going to school 2 days a week. But they're being accommodated some of them are being accommodated at the South Rumvelt School. Now, teachers are asking this question. With what is currently happening on the ground regarding the works, construction works being done, and students are now forced to attend school, I think you call it, like staggered hours or something like that, or staggered days. Why is it that the days that these students who are not physically in school, why is it you can't have virtual teaching? It is no fault of the parents or the children. The fault must be placed squarely at the feet of the head at the Ministry of Education. You know what further hurts me is this, is that you had works done at QC, Queen's College. You had works done at the Bishop's High School and several other senior top schools in the city. And these children weren't placed at a disadvantage September 4th. These children weren't left to suffer or are being caused to attend school staggered days. So school is in full session for these students. But you have Tocqueville Secondary School, and I have to investigate what is happening at the East Rumvelt Secondary School too, because on my visit on Monday, September 4th at that school, I learned and also observed that students of grades 7 and 8, 7 is, this is Form 1 children now heading from primary school, now heading into high school. Grades 7, Form 1, and grade 8 is Form 2. So these students were forced to go home because the new wing there was not in readiness to accommodate these students. Now you dress up first day, outfitted with your brand new school uniform, well seamed, lily white socks, black, well polished sneakers or booty, nice book bag with your little lunch pack at your side, just to be sent home when you now heading into high school. So it is really telling that this government has absolutely no plan in place, whether the level of the education, whether the level of housing. They have no plan in place. It's sure washy what comes to do. This is how this government operates. And if you look around across the city, it's sheer brand new buildings going up for schools. I don't have a problem with us enhancing the school buildings. But I'm telling you, the money really there plenty. Money really there like sun in this country. So we got Christchurch that went up in flames, now under construction. I know we'll really go. I think those students from that school is now being accommodated at the Cyril Potter College of Education. So apparently there ain't got no issues there, because you know they're going to school every single day. Because at CPC you have it's a big institution with several classrooms that can accommodate the students. But I guess it was the distance that the parents had an initial problem with. So it seems all is settled at that school. You have St. George's High School students. They too, I can't recall where they are being accommodated, if it is at the central, where the Central High School is, or the Brick Dam here in East La Penitence, but it's somewhere there around. So apparently all is going well where the students are concerned, right? But that school structure, I noticed steel structures going up, so things moving apace where that construction is concerned. You have the All St. Mary's Community High School once used to be at the corners of Camp and Brick Dam. They tear down the entire, because apparently that particular area, when it was constructed some years ago, you know that parents were against how, you know, the design of the building. I think at one time they deemed it a cow pen or something like that, right? So the children were actually accommodated in Princess Street, just off of where the Amerindian hostel is on Princess Street there. So what you have, a building, that entire structure is now down, and I know it's what they're putting up there. I know if it's a building to accommodate, for school to accommodate students. But it seems as though the Ministry of Education is quite busy building buildings here, there, and everywhere. And still, with all these buildings going up, our teachers are trying, despite the constraints and the challenges that they face on a daily basis, right? Some of our students, their performance is exceptionally well, right? So I think more needs to be done. It is not only the construction of these buildings, but we got to ensure, the Ministry of Education must ensure that the requisite materials, the teaching aids, the teaching materials are provided to the teacher. You can't want paying the teachers 100,000, 120,000 per month. Expect them to deliver effectively, and still got to go into their pockets to take out the little pittance that they're receiving to buy chalk, ruler, eraser, and all manner, and teaching aids and all manner of things. We approve over 100 and something billion Ghana dollars for 2023, where the Ministry of Education is concerned. And teachers still complaining about not having access or receiving materials on a timely basis. But I want to put the Honorable Member, Madam Priya Manik-Chan, on notice. I will be back to inspect and to observe, because teachers complain while I when I visited the schools in my constituency, to say that the place is hot and the requisite for fans. So I trust that with the 100+ billion we approved in the National Assembly, you provide fans at East Rumveld Secondary School. We have West Rumveld High School. We have Ascension Secondary School. We have West Rumvelt Primary School. Those teachers are crying out for proper ventilation. So please make our teachers comfortable. Make our students comfortable so that we can have proper learning in the classrooms, right? So I would also want to make this public appeal to the ministry, to Madam Priya Manik Chan, who sits at the head of the Ministry of Education. Please, madam, please, for the children who are currently attending the Tocqueville Secondary School along with their teachers, please ensure you put an alternate plan in place so that we can have continuous learning, and rather than having loss in learning. Please, during COVID, we had virtual teaching, and because of your negligence, because of your failed plan, you got to ensure that the children at Tocqueville Secondary School get learning via the virtual platform. We approve 100+ billion for that ministry. So don't come and say you don't got money. And all of the materials that were used during the COVID time to facilitate virtual teaching, I guess there's somewhere, whether the ministry or at the schools. So even if you got to borrow from one school to help this, help the teachers there at the Tocqueville High School, please ensure this is done, madam. We cannot allow our children, our future leaders, to suffer because of your failed plans, no plans, and a lack of vision. So please, madam, I am making this call on behalf of the parents, students, and educators at the Tocqueville Secondary School, and perhaps also if those students who have for the grades 8, 7, and 8 level at East Rumvelt Secondary School, if they haven't yet, because I was told last week, Monday the 4th, that their children, they were sent home indefinitely. Indefinitely. So please, madam, we cannot allow the children to be taught, and this can be done virtual. So if that didn't run through your mind or your thoughts, I trust that you will take my little advice and guidance and have it implemented. As I'm on education, there's another burning issue, and I think I dealt with this issue when it came to my attention last year with regards to this placement examination. Look, if I have a child who attended, let's say, St. John's College, that's my alma mater, that's where I went, St. John's College, who is attending St. John's College, and that child has been performing exceptionally well, and decided that, well, look, here she's in grade, let us say grade 8, which is Form 2, now heading to Form 3, and wants to write the placement examination to go to one of the top schools in the country, or senior secondary schools in the country, right? The placement examination allows for that opportunity, right? So what happened last year? Hundreds of students sat that exam, and children must know their ability. Children must know how they performed, and ministry failed one to say to the parent and that child the marks they would have attained at those exams, because I think it is do maths, English. You do the 4 core subjects: maths, English, social studies, and science. Right? Fail to say what the total marks gain and also what percentage. Now tell me, even at the level of university, Ghana. I attended university and I can tell you, when you sit an exam, because the lecturer would have your grades posted. Not only your grades, your percentage, the total marks gained. You're going to know whether you fall between an A, B, C, or D. And that is well posted. You don't reveal your name. Each student has a registration number. So by your registration number, when you go to that notice board, and I look for whether if my last number was 1886, that was one of my registration number at UG, 1886 or 1668, something like that. And I look across for economics, 3 exams I did, out of 60 marks, I know attain 40% out of 60 marks. And I know that can land me at a B+. So I know exactly going into the final exam how I have to work for the other 40%. But in this case last year, the students, when they went to the examination division at the Queen's College compound there, they were told that they have to remain at the current school that they're attending. How unfair that was. Well, you know me, things came to my attention and I went public via my social media page. Eventually, I was invited to the ministry. Say, man, you know, the minister reached out to me and she had her technical people engaged me. I said, I don't play with education. I don't play with education. I know where it came from. So I don't play with education. And I said, well, look, if the policy has changed, by right, let the people know up front. Not when people turn up to write examinations and, you know, people all upbeat. That child is upbeat. Then to hit them with the disappointed news that they have to remain at St. John's College. The same thing played out because I was promised that the ministry, I give them suggestions. I made recommendations to the then CEO and his supporting team. I think this is what y'all need to do. Y'all should make it public. Hold a press conference so that people can be informed. It was not done. I didn't see a press statement. I didn't see a press conference. And I didn't see nothing posted on the ministry Facebook page. What a disrespect. This year, parents reached out to me again to say, MP Ferguson, you know the same issue you highlighted. My child suffered that. What are we doing to children? What are we doing to children? So we got a lot of incompetent people who are sitting at the helm of the examinations division there in the Ministry of Education. It's your friends, families, favorites, and cronies who don't know one thing about administrating examinations. But playing into the minds, playing with our children's future. But you know, parents are afraid to speak out because some of them, they're working in government agencies. They say, MP Ferguson, please, the beg me hard. I said, no, I would never identify you. I wouldn't do that. People are so scared. Scared of what and scared of who? We ought not to be scared of these people because they're human beings just like us. They're there to deliver proper services to the people of this nation. And again, this same game played out. What are we doing? So I trust, come 2024, Madam Priya Manik-Chan, if you know that, well, look, the government's policy is to abandon or abolish displacement examination, do just that. Don't keep it to suffer one set of people and then another set going through, because that's what's happening. That is what is happening. Because I see evidence of who went here and now going there. So what are we doing? So please, if there is a change in the government's policy or the ministry's policy where placement examination is concerned, let the public know. So people wouldn't waste their time having their children go through the pains of studying and burning the midnight lamp just to secure that spot at QC, Bishops, Saints, Roses, or Joseph. Please, y'all need to do better. That is why I said, that's why the topic for tonight, PPPC bad for Guyana. The other issue I want to touch on this evening is this dengue issue. I'm going to touch on it briefly. And I think several weeks ago, my colleague, Dr. Karen Cummins, who happens to be the shadow person for health on the government, on the opposition side, has, articulated well in the public what this government lacks, what this government has not been doing, and also proffer recommendations what they can do to ensure that our people's health, our citizens' health is safe from this deadly virus that is plaguing our society at this point in time. So a lot of little ones are down with this dengue fever. I know of persons who have died because of dengue fever. So please, I'm calling once again, I'm echoing on behalf of the opposition for the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, and your team to inform the public what is really happening with this disease, with this virus, and how is your government tackling it or addressing it to safeguard the lives of our people. We're already a small population and we cannot afford to lose our people. The wealth of this nation is its human capital, the people. And if we have a proper health institution and providing proper health services to our people, we will be able to save many lives. But all y'all boasting about 12 new hospitals y'all will be constructing and all manner of thing. When you have our primary care hospital, the Georgetown Public Hospital, where granny can go and get free services despite the lengthy wait, they will have to wait. Or the lengthy time they will have to wait. They're at the emergency area. So with you now bringing these 12 new hospitals on stream, what you feel will happen? If Granny end up at emergency and she know that, well, look, I want my life to be saved. And when she turns up there, a whole set of people there, she has to wait for lengthy hours. Well, Granny finding 10,000, 15,000 just to see a doctor, consultation fees. And then you got to find a whole set of other monies for medication and all the other things that goes with it. What are we doing to our people? So, Frank Anthony and team, you need to get your house in order. We need to know how many persons have died thus far from this dengue fever. We need to know what systems are in place, what precautionary measures gynaes should use. That's something you should be running every minute of the day with on national television, speaking to your people. But this is not what y'all do, because y'all are more interested in building hotels, building roads, building bridges, building schools, building hospitals. That's where your interest lies, and not in the welfare of our people. So please, Dr. Frank Anthony, you need to do better. And if you're not listening to me, and you got someone else listening to me, I trust they will deliver my message well. Right? The other issue on the health, this thing with accidents. Oh my God. Accidents. Just last weekend, 4 persons died in a smash up at the Hoop Mahaika on the east coast of Demerara. Because why? According to the reports that I read, car coming in the opposite direction. Like apparently the guy consumed, he was imbibing early in the day, wasn't fit to drive, and caused lives, innocent lives, to be lost. Young woman in her prime, that 11-year-old. Oh, I read her mom's account leading up to the exams, after the exams, and speaking about the future that our child saw for herself. Now she's gone. Father and daughter, the brothers, my deepest condolences to the family and to the others who perished in that gruesome accident. Look, something is definitely wrong. And it seems as though we are just not getting it. Where is the plan, Robson Ben? Where is the plan, Clifton Hicken? You have an extension, though illegal. What measures you have in place to ensure that the lives of our people are made safe? Yes, while we as individuals have a moral obligation and responsibility to use the roadways with care, caution, and consideration, and with common sense, the police, they too have their responsibility and roles. Many of our, you're talking about roads and lights and all kind of thing, but I can tell you, many of the roads in communities are pitch black at nights. And we got some wild horses as human beings driving this road carelessly. Just this evening, coming to this program, to the studio, I drove Cemetery Road. From the time you touch Princess Street, from Princess Street to Sussex Street, pitch black. Yes, I know on both sides you got those who are resting in peace. Pitch black. When the coalition was in government, that entire stretch was well illuminated. I know they will come after me, but I can only speak the truth and give you the facts. You're having construction on that corridor, both east and west of that corridor. And at nights, there's no lighting reflection. I've taken to my Facebook, I had it posted and asked someone who was reading to tag the Honorable Bishop Wanegel and his junior member, Mr. Indar, Deodat Indar. It is the responsibility of the contractor. Where are the technical staff at the ministry to ensure that safety features, construction signs during the course of the day and at nights are erected? You're supposed to have flashing lights to indicate to motorists and drivers that if you go beyond, and also signs, that reflective signs, that is, that if you go beyond this boundary, it's danger. Nothing. Your eyes got to be well 20/20 vision when you're driving down Cemetery Road. Again, no plan. No plan. And I can tell you, certain parts coming from Barbies, pitch black. Is you and God. It's you and God to bring you safely. So I believe the time has come for all stakeholders. We have the Road Safety Council. I think that is headed by my sister Ramona Dugan, I think is her name, if I hope I get the surname accurate, who has been an advocate against road accidents because her husband was a victim to road accident, and he's now deceased. So herself and team, they have been doing, because I remember when we were in government, you know, they had seminars, they had programs, and I used to attend those programs and those sessions. And she always, herself and team, advocate for persons to use the road with care. The other thing that can also lead to road accidents, Guyana has now become a lawless society. It's already a lawless society because we have a lawless government who don't ensure that rules, procedures, laws are followed. This loud blasting music, these people with private cars, these young men who are driving these cars and got these big hell of a music box protruding through their windows, loud. It seems as though the police just turn a blind eye. That too can lead to accidents. Because if that driver is heading in a path or in a direction that will endanger other lives, another motorist might be trying to get his attention by way of tooting their horn. He can't hear because the loud, stupid and lewd music, and it's time we crack down on this, man. This lawlessness in our country. You have at hospitals, they have signs erected. No tooting of horn, or horns not allowed. No loud music. I can imagine they don't even see those signs. Because they're more interested in this, you know, every eyes must be on them. So when they pass these institutions, I could only imagine what is go through when poor patients, most at Georgetown Hospital, where it is endure on a daily basis. We have to bring back law and order, man. It is time the police crack down on these loud and lewd music. It is time the minister who sits in the chair as Home Affairs Minister to devise some plan or some policy to deal with those errant motorists. It is time. These things are so upsetting to the spirit. Where are we going as a nation? These things can't be normal. It's total madness and chaos on our streets. We got contend with the wild drivers driving the trucks. The minibus drivers who just take we call it a shortcut in and a shortcut out. And then you got some private drivers who drive in private vehicles who just don't care a darn. Where are we going? It is time the road rules and laws be enforced. And if we don't have the laws, because I think we have something regarding loud music. You can't have laws for the minibuses and then you got the private drivers doing as equal as the minibuses. So please, I'm calling on us all as legislators, as those who are sitting in a seat as Commissioner of Police acting, though with an illegal extension, and also the man who has the responsibility to oversee, political responsibility to oversee the Ghana police force, to bring something to the National Assembly, and let me stop this runaway horse, man. It is too overbearing. So please, again, my condolences to those who have lost loved ones in road accidents. And again, I'm saying, let us be our brother and sister keeper. Or brothers and sisters keeper. Please, let us do just that. Let us look out for each other. Life is so precious. It's a gift from Almighty God. And we can ill afford to lose our people senselessly on the roadways. You know, because I know my time is counting down, I wanted to touch briefly on this Barajagdio's comment at his press conference yesterday. And I think it was Nigel Hughes, the attorney at law, who was making the comparison of a few roads that were being done in region number 5. Right? You know, it's a stronghold of the governing, perceived to be the stronghold. Let me just use those words. Perceived to be the stronghold of the People's Progressive Party, Civic. So, in one area, what he did was actually, because you know the region is basically Indian, Afro, and then you got a few mix. So he was able to identify the number of roads done in the Indo communities. And or I think what happened, let me see what happened. Yes, the number of roads done in Indo communities and also Afro communities and mixed races. Well, from that analysis, you had majority of the roads were actually done in Indo communities. And because of him highlighting that, he was taken to task by Mr. Bharat Jagdeo. At least some roads, if perhaps I might be paraphrasing this thing here, at least some roads are being done. Now, Mr. Bharat Jagdeo, let me tell you something. You're such a disrespectful man. You are such a disrespectful man to Guyanese. Who dare you, sir, to say to us that at least some roads? When the coalition was building nice, strengthened concrete roads in Region 9, y'all went to that region and tell the people they can't eat roads. They can't eat roads. But yesterday you sat at a press conference that has no relevance, that has no substance. All you can do is call people name and buse out, because it seems as though that's what you're good for. Buse out. You can't come with nothing of substance to say to the people, this is what your government intend to do. If you're not abusing out the sheer lies you're coming with and spewing your propaganda, you can't help yourself. You can't help yourself, sir. So, at least roads are being done. You know what that message, who that message was for? Because the records show that majority of the roads in the region were done in Indo communities, while the Afro communities had less roads being done. One here, one there, one in this community, one in the community. I would like to say to Mr. Bharat Jagdeo that as Guyanese, whether Indian, Afro, Chino, Porto, Euro, we all have a right to benefit from whatever services the government has to offer, because we're taxpayers and Guyanese must be able to benefit, right? So I trust next week, because my phone just went blank on me, so next week I will share the excerpt from the press conference yesterday regarding the roads in region number 5. I know I have some other points that I really wanted to get in, but I think earlier I had to spend some time on some other issues I earlier discussed, because I deem it very important and necessary, right? So time has caught up on me, and I will end by saying this evening that the coalition continues to add their voice and call to a clean voters list. A clean voters list. Viewers, listeners, I'm truly sorry that I couldn't open the lines this evening to take your calls, but rest assured, I will have this done next week. If not Wednesday, next Friday, sorry. So I want to end by saying happy weekend to you and your family. May your weekend be a restful one, with shared love and spend time with the family and friends. So may God continue to bless us as a people. May God continue to bless you and your families. And may God continue to bless this beautiful paradise that He has given to us called Guyana. With those few words, a pleasant night rest to you. And see you next Friday for another episode of Let's Talk with Annette. Ta-ta.